In 1963, one of Italy's wealthiest businessmen drove his brand new Ferrari 250 GT to Enzo Ferrari's factory with a complaint. The clutch kept breaking. It was a simple problem with a simple fix. Enzo Ferrari, legendary founder of Ferrari, racing icon, and possibly the most arrogant man in Italy, looked at this businessman and said, "The problem isn't the car. The problem is you don't know how to drive it. You're just a tractor maker. What could you possibly know about sports cars?" Now, I want you to remember that line, because that insult, it cost Ferrari everything. That tractor maker was Ferruccio Lamborghini, and he didn't just take the insult and walk away. No, he went home, locked himself in his workshop, and built a car so beautiful, so powerful, so perfect that it made Ferrari look outdated. This is the story of the most expensive insult in automotive history. And trust me, it gets good. Let's rewind for a second. Because Ferruccio Lamborghini wasn't just some random guy with a complaint. By 1963, he was one of the richest men in Italy. He'd started with nothing. After World War II, Lamborghini was a mechanic with no money and a garage full of military surplus. So he did what any resourceful Italian would do. He built tractors out of scrap metal and surplus parts. And they were good, really good. By the late 1950s, Lamborghini Trattori was one of the largest tractor manufacturers in Italy. Ferruccio was making millions, so naturally, he started buying toys. Fast, expensive toys. He owned an Alfa Romeo, a Maserati, a Jaguar E-Type, and multiple Ferraris. He loved cars. He understood cars. He could strip an engine down and rebuild it himself. But here's the problem. His Ferraris kept breaking down, specifically the clutches. Again and again, the same issue. Now you're probably thinking, okay, so just get it fixed, right? Well, here's the thing. For a man who built machines for a living, watching the finest cars in the world fall apart constantly was infuriating. So Ferruccio decided to do something about it. He drove to Maranello to Ferrari's factory to speak directly to Enzo Ferrari himself. That was his first mistake. Enzo Ferrari was a legend. He'd built Ferrari from nothing into the most prestigious name in racing. His cars won championships. Celebrities and royalty waited years just for the privilege of owning one. But here's what most people don't know about Enzo. He was also famously difficult, arrogant, dismissive. He saw road cars as a necessary evil, something to fund his real passion, which was racing. If you bought a Ferrari and complained, Enzo didn't care. You were lucky to own one at all. So when Ferruccio Lamborghini, a tractor manufacturer, walked into his office and told him the clutches in his Ferraris were garbage, Enzo didn't take it well. The exact words vary depending on who tells the story, but the message was crystal clear. Lamborghini, you're a tractor maker. You understand tractors. You don't understand sports cars. The problem isn't my car. The problem is you don't know how to drive it. Stop bothering me and go back to your tractors. Now I want you to imagine that for a second. You're one of the wealthiest men in the country. You've bought multiple Ferraris. You're not some clueless customer. You're a mechanical engineer who builds engines for a living. And this man just dismissed you like you're nobody. Ferruccio walked out of that office humiliated, furious. And that's when he made a decision that would change automotive history forever. If Enzo Ferrari thought he was just a tractor maker, fine, he'd show him what a tractor maker could do. So here's where it gets interesting. Ferruccio went home and did something absolutely crazy. He decided to build his own sports car. Not just any car, a car that would be better than Ferrari in every single way. He had the money, he had the engineering knowledge, and most importantly, he had something to prove. Ferruccio started recruiting. And I'm not talking about just anyone. He poached some of the best engineers in Italy. Giotto Bizzarini, who designed Ferrari's legendary 250 GTO. Gianpaolo Dallara, a brilliant young engineer. Bob Wallace, a talented test driver from New Zealand. He told them, build me a grand touring car. It needs to be fast, comfortable, refined, and reliable. I want it to do everything a Ferrari does, but better. And here's the beautiful irony in all of this. Ferruccio actually knew what was wrong with Ferrari's clutches. It was a simple fix. Ferrari used the same clutch in their road cars that they used in their race cars because Enzo didn't care about making road cars comfortable. They were built for the track, not the street. Lamborghini's solution? Use a different clutch. A better one designed for everyday driving, not racing. In just 4 months, Lamborghini's team designed and built a prototype. They unveiled it at the 1963 Turin Auto Show. It was called the 350 GTV, and it was absolutely stunning. The response was immediate. Journalists, competitors, customers, they all saw it and realized something significant had just happened. This wasn't some amateur project. This was a legitimate, beautiful, world-class sports car that could genuinely compete with Ferrari. And you can bet Enzo Ferrari heard about it. For the first time, he realized he might have made a mistake. But Lamborghini didn't just build one car and call it a day. He refined the 350 GTV into the 350 GT for production. Then came the 400 GT. Then the Miura, and this is where things get really interesting. The Miura was revolutionary, mid-mounted V12 engine, top speed of 170 miles per hour, and the design, automotive journalists took one look at it and called it the most beautiful car ever made. Now you might be wondering, was it actually that good? Let me put it this way, Ferrari had absolutely nothing like it. Nothing even close. And here's what makes this story even better. Lamborghini wasn't trying to beat Ferrari at racing. He didn't care about the track. He cared about building the best road car, a car you could actually drive, a car that didn't break down, a car that was as comfortable as it was fast. Ferrari's cars were raw, aggressive, built for racing. Lamborghini's cars were sophisticated, refined, built for enjoyment, and people loved it. Celebrities started buying Lamborghinis. Frank Sinatra owned one. Miles Davis owned one. They became symbols of wealth and taste in a way that felt different from Ferrari, cooler, more rebellious. Enzo Ferrari was furious. This tractor maker had come into his world and challenged him on his own turf. And worse, he was winning. The rivalry became deeply personal. Enzo refused to acknowledge Lamborghini's existence publicly. He never mentioned the name, but privately, he pushed his engineers harder. Every time Lamborghini released something new, Ferrari had to respond. When Lamborghini released the Countach in 1974, one of the most iconic cars ever made, Ferrari scrambled to develop competitors. The cars got faster, more extreme, more outrageous. But here's the thing. Ferruccio Lamborghini had already proven his point. He'd taken Enzo's insult and turned it into one of the most legendary car brands in history. Ferruccio Lamborghini eventually sold his car company in 1974. He'd made his point. He'd proven that a tractor maker could build cars that rivaled and in many ways surpassed Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari never publicly apologized, never admitted he was wrong. He died in 1988, still refusing to acknowledge Lamborghini's success. But the numbers don't lie. Today, Lamborghini is worth billions. They're owned by Volkswagen Group, and they produce some of the most desired cars on the planet. The Aventador, the Huracan, the Urus. These aren't just cars, they're cultural icons. And it all started because one man was insulted and refused to accept it. Now think about what could have happened if Enzo Ferrari had just listened. If he'd said, you know what, Ferruccio, you're right. Let me fix that clutch for you. This entire rivalry might never have existed. Lamborghini might have remained a tractor company. Ferrari would have kept a loyal, wealthy customer. Instead, Enzo's arrogance created his greatest competitor. There's a lesson here about hubris, about underestimating people, about what happens when you dismiss someone who has the talent, resources, and determination to prove you wrong. Ferruccio Lamborghini didn't just want to build a better car. He wanted to humiliate the man who humiliated him, and he succeeded. So the next time you see a Lamborghini on the street, the aggressive lines, the scissor doors, the roaring V12 engine, remember this, that car exists because of one insult, one moment of arrogance that backfired in the most expensive way possible. Never underestimate a tractor maker with a grudge. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the rivalries and revenge stories that built the world's greatest brands. Up next, the two brothers who split their company in half and accidentally created Adidas and Puma. See you in the next one.